Hey YouTube, this here is pumpkin pie chapstick. I don't know why I'm like sitting here grinning. I think I'm excited for this experiment. This will be put in with another clip, and so no intro because I don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, brows are done with the Fenty Brow MVP in dark black. On this side of our face, we're going to put the Rare Beauty 370 in. On this side of the face, we're going to put the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup 4 in 2, which is Spiced Sand. And so these are what they look like. So both of these have a neutral undertone. We're going to see. Because this has a pump, we're going to use our palette to do 2 pumps of the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. And we're going to use the same brushes. I do wash my brushes after every use, and so we're going to use the same ones that we've been using for these foundation videos. And so I'm tapping it, and I think my skin is actually looking pretty good today. Like, this isn't as red as it used to be. And over the weekend I did have a mask on, you know, here and there, because I finally went to like my first conference, and only because someone recommended me to be one of the speakers. I was not going to go. I have not been to a conference since 2019, and I did not stay long because I wasn't all the way comfortable. It was only a few people that did have a mask on, and so during eating, I didn't have my mask on, but right after I would finish eating, I would put it back on. When I went up to do my speech, I had it on, and then I took it off to speak, and right after my speech was over, I put my mask back on and walked back to my seat. And so people kept saying, "Are you going to be here tomorrow?" And I'm like, nope. And so it was good to be out. I saw, you know, a few people I hadn't seen since like 2018. And so that was exciting. But it's only been a handful of people in the community, in that particular community, that have seen my face in person since 2019. And so, well, since 2020 actually. And the few that have seen me, like, we see each other periodically anyway. So it was only really just like one person that I wanted to see. But, you know, they asked me to be a speaker, and I'm like, okay. So this is the primer. We're going to take the Rare Beauty, I think it's called Light Touch Weightless Foundation. Oh, let me shake it up so I don't make a mess. I'm looking over there. If you can hear something, I'm in a Zoom meeting. I hadn't even been to Zoom meetings since maybe 2021, because I just got burned out because everything went to Zoom, and I was doing a lot of them, and I got burned out. And honestly, I think I'm only in this Zoom meeting because one of the hosts is somebody I know personally from the community, and I actually did run into her at the conference. And so I think part of me is like, okay, she knows I'm still breathing. And she wears her mask all the time too, which was great. And so, you know, we walked up to each other, hugged each other, and then she poked me. She's like, "I'm just making sure you're real." So that was kind of funny. But I'm like, yeah, I'm really here. Like, I'm real. And so it was good seeing her. She doesn't live local. She lives states and states and states and states and states away. Actually, she lives down south. But a lot of meetings on Zoom I used to attend, she was a part of those. And so it was good to see her, even though we only talked maybe like 3 minutes. And of course we took our obligatory picture, because if you don't have a picture, it never happened. But it was just so funny when we were talking. She just went, and I'm like, she's like, "I'm just making sure you're really here." So instead of like pinching somebody, like, she actually like poked me. And I'm like, okay. So this is the 4. No, it's not. I keep saying 4 because the Estee Lauder is a 4 in 2. This is 370W. So this is what it's looking like. I put it on this side intentionally because I wanted to see what it was going to do with this dark patch I have right here. And it does cover the dark patch a little bit better than the 360W. But I would still want to maybe put on concealer. Thank you for being here, because I'm processing this as I'm doing it. So if I'm talking slow or hesitating, it's because I'm really just trying to figure out what I think about it. But we're going to see. I'm going to put that brush over here. Oops, not there. I'm going to put that brush there. We're going to take the cap off. We're going to unlock it. And we're just going to do one pump. And we're going to see if that'll do it. Because usually I do 2 for my whole face. But since we're not doing the whole face, this is the clean one. And we're just going to press it in. Wow. This is way different. And I remember saying the 370 in the Rare Beauty was, to me, it seems golden. Whereas the 4N2 from Estee Lauder does have more of a neutral undertone compared to the 370. Oh my. So I am scraping. So we did actually just use that one pump for this half of my face. This right here and this right here is for my glasses, and so I'm not overly concerned with covering that, because that is an indentation in my skin, probably a permanent bruise. And not that my glasses are heavy, but if you wear glasses, you know, you just end up with marks there that just don't go away after a while. Maybe my glasses are heavy. They're from the military, and you know, they give you like thick, heavy stuff. So this is what it looks like. I am it is a noticeable difference. The 370N to me is golden, or at least warmer than the 4N2 from Estee Lauder, because this is more of a neutral undertone than this, even though it says it's a neutral undertone. I will put over here again like what the foundations are described as, and it was very interesting. But it did confirm for me, even looking at the description of the Fenty 335 I wear, it does confirm. This way you can see how this is a whole different shade than this side. Like this is definitely more muted, more neutral. So it did confirm for me that I do have like 3 different undertones. Like warm golden overall, warm overall. But then there is some olive mixed in, and neutral mixed in here. And so between the 3 foundations, the Fenty that I wear, the Estee Lauder, and now the Rare Beauty 360, like yeah, it's all those undertones. But they all do say, I think, medium tan. And so I don't know which one I like better. The 4N on this side, I am satisfied with how it covered my under eye area. This side, the 370N, yeah, from Rare Beauty, it still isn't giving me the coverage I want under here, and neither does the 360W. But this right here, the 4N2 from Estee Lauder, which is one of my go-tos, like this, I'm loving it. And so I don't have like multiples of foundations, well, multiple brands, because I have 2 Estee Lauders open and 1 Fenty open. And I am going to keep the 360W from Rare Beauty, but we are going to do, in the next clip, we're going to compare the 360W Rare Beauty with the 4W1 from Estee Lauder, just to see, and that's going to be part of this video as well. Yeah, it just surprises me that this has a neutral undertone, because it looks very warm, especially in comparison, because you can tell, and it's not the lighting. From here, like this side is a different shade than this side, and even though this looks more muted and not as bright, like that is my complexion. But then when you look at my face, this part, it does match there too, and it matches up here, whereas the 4N2 does not necessarily match my undertone down here. So this is just very interesting to me. So thank you for being here. Let me know your thoughts, and let me know also if this inspires you to, if you have different foundations, if this inspires you to just do a side-by-side and compare and see which one really is your shade or which one you like better. And I'm saying that because my hope is that you don't feel the need to continue having like 5, 10, 20 foundations. Like just pick the one or the 2 or 3 that really suit you the best. And so hopefully down the road, this will save you money and also show you, okay, instead of making this work with that one, I can just use this one over here instead of mixing these two, or, you know, whatever. And I know a lot of people do mix. But looking from the side though too, from the side, I do like how this looks, even though this is more golden. This side though, I like them both. And this is dry already. Both of them are dry already. So I'm not going to powder down or anything. But I am liking this under eye better than this one. This is the darker side. So that's going to be it, because I'm going to sit here and just keep picking it apart and looking at it. But let me know what you think, and let me know about, you know, does this inspire you to go through your foundations and just pick a few instead of having so many. And keep in mind the POA on foundations is usually 12 months. The Estee Lauder is 24 months, which is awesome, but most are 12 months. And so that's the amount of time that they're said to be good for after we open them. And so if you have like 10 foundations, are you going to use them all up in a year? And even if you're mixing, you're going to have left over more of this one than that one or whatever. And so I just don't want us to just spend money and end up throwing money away when we don't have to, and we don't have to. So thank you, and you will see me in the next clip. And let me know what you think. This is the Rare Beauty 370N. This is the Estee Lauder 4N2. You will see me soon. Hey YouTube, sorry, what? Wait a minute, what's happening? Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This is Vanilla Mint Chapstick. I really have no idea what that was, but I left it in because this is the crazy trollnation of YouTube. So if you're wondering about the crazy part, you've seen it. You've seen it first thing. The troll part is not caring too much about the beauty community standards, wearing whatever you want to wear, however you want to wear it, whatever technique, whatever tool, and just rocking it. I don't know where this came from, but I looked and I had like a burst, I guess, pimple? Because it was like a white ball. And I'm like, what is that? And so, of course, I squeezed it. And now it's swollen and oozing. Y'all, this is so gross. If you're here for the first time, welcome. This is as good as it gets. And if you've been here before, you're probably either laughing with me or you're like, okay, she's acting a fool again. One of the two. So I do curse on my channel sometimes because I do curse in real life sometimes. But all of that is the concept of the Crazy Troll Nation. Enjoying your videos if you do videos, enjoying the channels that you watch. And the troll part is rocking whatever you want to rock, because here at the Crazy Troll Nation, we are about self-acceptance and self-love, embracing your natural features, enhancing them if you want to, when you want to, but never feeling like you have to. Love yourself for who you are and for how you look, even without face paint on. So let's just get into today's video. We still are comparing foundations, and I'm finding that I am really digging this, even though I only have a few. Like, just seeing how close they are, and it's giving me insight into why I like each one. So today we're going to do Estee Lauder 4W1. The W means it has a warm undertone, and this is Rare Beauty, I think it's called Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation. And this is 360W, so this is warm as well. And the undertones are both different. I will put over here right now what both of these are described as. We're going to see how they look on the face. And this eye is tearing because the fan was blowing and it was blowing in my face. So because the Estee Lauder has a pump, we're going to use our palette to pump out 2 pumps of the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I realized the last one I did, the previous clip, it went by so fast. When I edited it, it was like 10 minutes. And so I said, you know what? I will just do the other clip on here, because the initial ones, thank goodness my nose is clean. A little flare for you. The previous ones I did, they were longer, and I think because I did an entire face, And I am doing a video after this one because I have been revisiting palettes that I haven't used in a while for no particular reason. I did go through another really quick declutter. You may have already seen that. Yeah, you have seen that video, and there is a giveaway associated with that video. Just a really small one compared to the giveaways I usually do. But just stuff that was here that I had not used, and realistically I wasn't going to use. Some stuff I put in Macari. I think some stuff was used that I put in Macari. Actually, all of it I think I put in there was used. Yo, those Rock and Roll Beauty palettes sold quick. And I priced them fairly cheap, I think. And even though, well, you know what? I priced them cheap because they have been on sale. And I don't remember if I purchased them on sale or not. But so them being on sale currently and them being used, like I wasn't going to price them high. I think the Bat palette sold in a day. And the Coffin palette sold after a few days. Listen, I am so excited because I'm on a no-buy for the month of May. And for the first time ever, within like 4 days, I had like 5 Macari sales. And I'm just like, the universe is proud of me. And so not only am I not buying makeup or skincare, I'm earning money from Macari sales. And so I'm really excited about that. Don't get too excited though, because I think I want to do a full face of Pat after my no-buy is over, which means I need to buy Pat foundation and all of that. I did get a sample. Look at this. She filled it as much as possible, which is awesome. And I was looking at videos to see like what shade would be my shade. And also I had one of the foundation samplers, and not that that's what this is, but it was a foundation sampler. And because the Fenty number 335 is absolutely perfect for me, to the point of not even wanting to put on concealer, the M18 in the Pat McGrath foundation was just a little more sheer than the Fenty. But color-wise, I was like, ooh. And so I don't know if it'll show up as the Fenty one does, because it is a thicker foundation. The Fenty one is a thicker foundation. But I was just so excited that the shades were like almost exact dupes, except the Pat is just thinner, and it is a more sheer foundation. And so I'm curious to see what that's going to look like. And so I'll be playing around with that. And once the no-buy is over, and when a sale comes along, and we know Pat's website has sales often, I will purchase the concealer. And if my skin likes it, first of all, if I don't break out or anything, I'll purchase the foundation and the concealer, excuse me. And I did swatch out the Estee Lauder 4N concealer, and that actually was not far off from the M18 concealer for Pat. So that's what we're going to do. But for right now, we're going to take the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup, and this is for W1, and it is Honey Bronze. So we're only going to do one pump because we're only doing one side of the face. And when I did the one pump of the 4 and 2, it did cover this side of my face. And so yeah, one pump is good. So I'm going to turn it to lock it and also put the cap back on it. So the brush we use for the primer, so this is just that. And we're going to start under eye because that's where I think I want the most coverage, and then around the nose because that's red. And we're going to do here. I really like this brush for foundation. It doesn't creak or anything, so I'm hoping that it is going to last a while. And so I do well, I don't want to recommend any of these brushes because then you'll get one and it'll creak or fall apart. But this is the best one. The blush brushes, this is a lethal brush. The blush brush sheds on me every time I use it. The face brush is decent. The contour brush is decent. The powder brush is nice. But it's not high quality compared to like my Scott Barnes. Yeah, I guess I'll say that to Scott Barnes because that's the other fluffy brush that I have. So if you're looking for an inexpensive powder brush, then yeah, go ahead and get the lethal one because that one doesn't creak or anything either. It's more loose than the Scott Barnes. That's what it is. And for using pressed powders or loose powders, I do prefer a more dense powder brush. So that's the only reason I prefer the Scott Barnes. And so we are scraping. So this is the 4W1. This is from my glasses. I'm thinking it's just a permanent bruise. I don't even pay much attention to it anymore. So this is the 4W1 from Estee Lauder. And she looked good. So we're just really scraping. Like there is nothing, it's dry. Excuse me. Thank you for being here while I'm doing these comparisons. And I don't know why I haven't ever thought to do these before. Shout out to Zelda. Silver Curls Zelda. She does Foundation Fridays on her channel. And so every Friday she does a video with a different foundation. I don't have a lot of foundations. I don't try a lot of different foundations. And so that wouldn't work for me. I almost did not shake this up. I was going to open it. But shout out to her. So even looking at this one, even looking close at my forehead, it's like, where is it? Whereas the other one, you can tell like where it was and where it's not. And if I turn, this side does look a little more smoother, I think, than like this area here. And you can see the color change between this right here and up here. Now around here is kind of the same, except the redness, because around my mouth is a little bit darker. But even the chin area, like you have to look to see that this part is where the foundation ends. So this is a good shade for me. I don't like what it does to my under eye area, which it doesn't do anything to my under eye area, which is why I don't like it. And this is my darker side right here. But that's not the foundation's fault that I have under eye discoloration. But it doesn't cover it like the Fenty does. And so I was wondering, like, do I just want to just forsake all else and just stick with the Fenty? And I'm like, no, because I have Estee Lauder that I just opened, and I am not going to ditch Estee Lauder. And plus the Estee Lauder, the POA is 24 months. I'm pretty sure I did mention that in another video. So even if I alternate Estee Lauder with Fenty, I will still be sure to use them both up. And this Fenty is just about used up, and I just opened the Estee Lauder. So we have 2 years to use the Estee Lauder. So even if I use other stuff in between, or use this in between, I still will use up the Estee Lauder, and I do use them up. When I first take this out, I do kind of scrape it. But look at my forehead. Like, can you tell really, like if you really look, you can tell, okay, there's no foundation here, there's none here. But when you just look at it, look at my, when a shade is your shade, you will know. You will know. And I am loving it. I'm gonna put a couple here. I find this works better when I dab it on instead of swiping it, because even though it looks like I'm putting it everywhere, when I swiped it, it was a thicker application. Because I was thinking, like, you're covering your whole face, but it's a thinner application. The first time I used it with all the swipes, it was just too much. And I was like, this is not my shade. I'm gonna do this lash, if at all. But yeah, I'm gonna do it lash. And so that was a learning curve for me. And after I used less, I'm like, okay, you know what, this can work. And it does work. And so there are times I think I need to make it work, and I think that's when I put too much. Whereas the Estee Lauder, you know, I can keep scraping off the palette and putting it on, and it'll still just look the same. Whereas the Rare Beauty, if I put too much, the tone just doesn't look quite right. It doesn't look like my perfect match, I'll put it that way. I mean, it can still look right, but like to my eye, because I know what my skin looks like, I'm thinking, you know, something is a little bit off. But to people who don't see me every day without makeup on, like, they wouldn't notice. So I think when I had swatched these on the back of my hand, and I do realize after the fact that I didn't blend out the Rare Beauty like I blended out the Estee Lauder. And so that may have affected, well, it did affect how it looked. Because these two side by side, I should have had a note here on what these shades are described as. They both are warm, but they have different undertones to it. They're both medium for medium complexions. But yeah, they're described a little different. And that just goes to show, like what I've been saying, is undertone makes a difference. you know, your complexion and your undertone. And for me, because I have like 3 different undertones, depending on what part of my face you're looking at, it makes it challenging to find something that will look right on my entire face. So these are what these look like side by side. And I will say, the Estee Lauder compelled. The power of Christ compels you. The Estee Lauder. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm not sorry, but excuse me if that offended you. I watch a lot of horror and sci-fi type stuff, so yeah. The Estee Lauder compared to the Rare Beauty is more flat. This, and you know what? I don't know if the Rare Beauty is a matte foundation, because the Estee Lauder is a full coverage matte foundation, and it's dry already. Like, it dries down quick. This is still not quite dry, but I did just put it on just now, as you saw. But compared to the Rare Beauty, the Estee Lauder is a little flat. It is a tad lighter. It's definitely matte. The Rare Beauty does have a luminosity to it. It is a little luminous. But the color is good, as long as I don't put too much. Because when I put too much, it's just like a disco ball. So I do like it. I am going to keep this. And now that the Fenty is almost used up, I will use this one, so that's used up. I don't know. I don't think I would repurchase this. And the next clip, we're going to compare this to the Fenty, because I'm curious as to what it's going to look like. The reason I'm saying now I don't think I would repurchase this is because with the Fenty, I'm okay with not putting concealer on. And I think what's throwing me off with the Rare Beauty, because it is luminous, it gives a glow under my eye, where even though this is my darkest patch, comparing this under eye to that one, this is my darkest patch. But even putting the foundation there, I still see my discoloration, but it's not bothersome. By the time I do an eye look and put shadow under here and everything else, it will kind of help cover that up. But it's not shiny. It's not luminous like this side. And I think that's what throws me off with the Rare Beauty, is because the shininess of it just kind of brings out the discoloration to me. And you guys are probably saying, you know, it's fine. You know, it looks great. It looks good. But to me, just being critical and also comparing, because both sides you can see discoloration. And even though this is the darker side, as I said, this side is just shiny. So to me, it's just like in your face. You know, I'm sorry for poking you in the eye. So this is just going to be it for this video. And it's still not quite dry yet. This side is completely dry. And yeah, so I'm going to do the other video. And then tomorrow, today is May 8th, 2023. Tomorrow, May 9th, I am meeting one of my subscribers in person for the first time, and I am hella excited. She's been watching me for a while. You know, she comments like on all my videos, and she's even won a few giveaways too. And so I'm excited to meet her tomorrow. And so I'm wondering if when I come home, if I'm going to do a video. Or if I'm up, I'm not going to be up early enough to do it beforehand, because we're meeting at 1 and it's about 40 minutes away. So I'll be leaving home at about noon. And I'm nocturnal. I go to sleep like after the sun comes up. So I don't think I'm going to have the energy to do a video prior to that. When has that stopped me from doing videos though? I wake up, do videos, half sleep, hungry, migraines. But yeah, I do like this though. So this is an option. Yeah, if you're around my complexion, if you have multiple undertones like I do, and you can get to a Sephora, I don't know if they can give you a sample of it, because the Pat McGrath and like Fenty, Estee Lauder, it has a pump, so they can pump it out into a sample jar. But with this, I don't know. But because it is kind of liquidy, I'm thinking they may be able to turn it and pour it. But it'll depend on if the employee wants to do that. So they could do it, but it would be messy. Yeah, so we're going to come back. And did I say we were going to compare the Rare Beauty to the Fenty? Because this to me is perfect. And this right here I'm looking at, I'm really digging the Estee Lauders, both the 4W1 and the 4N2. I really am. And I am okay with my discoloration under here because this evens out my face. And I don't mind discoloration still showing through because I do have discoloration. So to me it looks natural. You know what I mean? So it took down the redness here and it just evened everything else out. You can still see my contour. You still see where the light hits off of my cheekbone. And so you still see a lot of character in my face. You still see my freckles, even though this is a full coverage foundation, dries down really quick. So this, I don't even remember what I said I was going to do, but what I am going to do, I am going to do a comparison with the pat and with this one, because on my hand they looked almost the same. The finish is completely different. Fenty is soft matte. I don't know what Pat describes it as, but I do know it's sheer, a very sheer. Who was I watching? She said it's a sheer to light medium coverage, depending on if you keep trying to build it up. And so I'm not expecting a lot. But because my skin is okay, just cover up the redness here and a little bit of the under eye discoloration and I'm good. Like this right here, I'm good. This is just too shiny for me. And thank you for helping me figure out like why I wasn't liking the Rare Beauty under my eye. And it's because it makes it shiny. This, because it's matte, it's just blending in, even though you still see that discoloration. But this to me looks like me. This being shiny right here makes it look like this is a bag, and this is not a bag. This is my double bag side. So the shininess is just bringing out features I don't have. So I'm going to go for this part of the video, and yeah, you'll see me in the next clip with another foundation comparison. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with my assessment about how the under eye looks with the Estee Lauder 4W1 or the Rare Beauty 360W? Thank you, and it does look nice though. Like the rest of the face, I'm liking. It's just under here I'm not liking. But this, looking this way, I know I was acting like I was going, I really was, but I keep looking at it. Looking at it this way, I do see differences in tone. This side to me looks more uniform coming down. And when I look straight, yeah, I'm really gonna go.